The wild horses of Rangitoto Island. First time I met your grandmother, she gave me a good old telling off in that big voice of hers. Grandad threw a handful of weeds into the wheelbarrow. She shook her head, held her fists in the air like claws, and roared away with her jaws wide open. She'd have lashed her tail if she had one. I thought she was going to bite my head off. Granny wouldn't do that. You don't know your grandmother. Why did she growl at you? We met at the circus. At the circus? You sitting together? She reckoned I hadn't cleaned out the lion's cage properly, told me to do it all over again, or she'd give me the sack. Did you? You bet. Your grandmother still roared and growled and lashed her tail, so I cleaned it a third time. She sniffed then, and she said she supposed it was all right. What were the lions doing while you were cleaning their cage? Cowering away from your grandmother. She was the lion tamer. True? Said so, didn't I? Grandad blew out his moustache, the way he does when he thinks I don't believe him. Was Granny a good lion tamer? She shouted in that big voice of hers, and they rushed to do whatever she told them. But people don't pay good money to see obedient lions. They want to see hungry lions who roar and shake their heads and show their claws and snap their teeth. People go to the circus hoping to see the lions eat the lion tamer. What happened? The circus made me the lion tamer. I wore a scarlet uniform with gold buttons, a top hat, and I grew my first moustache. When I blew my trumpet and cracked the whip, the lions roared and shook their heads. They snapped their teeth, showed their claws, lashed their tails, and looked as if they were going to eat me. People came to the circus in droves. And Granny? She cleaned the lion's cage. Did you make a lot of money? We would have, but your grandmother got jealous. She made me leave the circus and we moved to Auckland. What was Auckland like then? In those days, Rangitoto Island was infested with wild horses. When people landed on the beaches to have picnics, the wild horses stole their sandwiches and ate them. And they even started swimming across to Queen Street and making a nuisance of themselves. They chased people into the shops, tipped over the trams and the old farmers' trolley buses, swiped the kids' ice creams and did smelly poops all over the footpath. What happened? City Council heard about your grandmother's big voice and put her onto them. She climbed on top of the Civic Theatre, cracked a whip, shouted so loud the wild horses swam back to Rangitoto with their fingers in their ears and behaved themselves. Are they still on there? They hide amongst the branches of the Pahutakawa trees. Once people get on their boats and go home, the wild horses climb down and go through the rubbish bins for any old sandwiches. Did Granny scare them that much? You've never heard her shout, have you? When we were working in the circus, she trained a giraffe to dance, but it stood on her foot, and your grandmother shouted so loud its neck shrunk. Poor thing, the public didn't want to pay to see a short-necked giraffe, even if it could dance, so the circus got rid of it. Sometimes, said my grandfather, she scares me with her shouting. Where are you? I heard Granny calling from the house. Lunch is ready. Hear that voice? Said Grandad. We don't want her to get angry and shout at us, do we? I shook my head. We emptied the wheelbarrow into the compost heap and ran to wash our hands.